Next we have Volume 5. Just like Volume 3 and 4, it's got this really cool image of how when you put it up against the light. A little lazier with the design of this set, but the cartoons that are in here are pretty cool. When you take the case off, you get Daffy losing once again. That wascally wabbit. Disc 1 is Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck when they're put in cartoons together or when they are both separated. Disc 2 is a bunch of parodies of fairy tales, and that's pretty funny. Disc 3 is all these on these sets they dedicate certain discs to certain animators. Disc 3 is putting a Bob Clampett on it, or a bunch of special Bob Clampett cartoons, the history of the great Bob Clampett. And I think he created the best Looney Tunes cartoons, actually. They may not have been the funniest ones. Other animators had funnier ones, but his were more abstract, and wackier and crazy things happened in his cartoons in particular. And his animation was amazing. Or his team of animators, rather. You got these really cool designs on the discs. There's Daffy as like Sherlock Holmes. Oh, that's right. Disc 4, Early Days, includes the super early Looney Tunes cartoons, the original. Like, that's an early version of Tweety right there, where her skin was tan instead of yellow. His skin, rather. And like I said, Porky was the first Looney Tunes star, so that's why they include an image of him right here next to Early Days. For hardcore fans only. And we have Volume 6. Now, the reason for the cover is because this collection in particular shows all the wartime cartoons. That's right, the rare, controversial wartime cartoons where a lot of them were just shown to the U.S. Army and Navy. These cartoons were created during the 1940s, during the big boom of World War II. And they used cartoon characters such as Bugs Bunny, Daffy, and a bunch of others and Elmer, to promote the United States Army. They're very funny and they're very dated, and it's just fascinating because if you want to look historically, those would be some of the most controversial Looney Tunes cartoons, and I guess it makes sense that it's the final volume that would include it. Unfortunately, they never made a volume 7, 8, 9, or 10, or anything like that for the Looney Tunes Golden Collection. They said that the 6th collection would be the final. So that's very sad because, like I said earlier, there are tons and tons and tons of Looney goodness that has not been released ever. And I do wonder if it ever will be. Probably not because of nowadays. But like I said, a lot of the ones that weren't released are not controversial. They're just regular Looney Tunes cartoons, so it's a shame. But I do think the reason why they do that is because they want to keep some of the rare ones and the special ones for later releases, just in case anything happens. Now, this set doesn't just include the wartime cartoons, the World War II cartoons. It doesn't just include those, it includes a whole bunch of other regular ones. So the cover is awesome, but it's a bit misleading. It makes you think that all the cartoons on the disc, on the collection, are going to be those ones, but it's not all of the collection. I think it's the coolest looking set, one of the coolest looking sets they ever made. Now, this little guy down here, and you also saw him on the cover on the side, this is Bosco, the Talk Inc. Kid. And he was the first Warner Brothers cartoon character they ever created. He wasn't a Looney Tune, he was like a little bit before the Looney Tunes, but he was created after Mickey Mouse was created, and they were trying to, all the animation studios were trying to get characters that were anything like Mickey Mouse. So Bosco was kind of a rip-off of Mickey Mouse. And Bosco was a little boring, but he's okay. For some reason, some people actually like him a little bit, but most people think he's pretty boring. But he's very special to Warner Brothers because he was the very first. He's a monkey, and he's really weird. Despite the fact that he has nothing to do with the wartime episodes in this set, they gave him a hat and everything, and this 6th volume actually does include a bunch of Bosco cartoons on it. Some even the hardcore fans would say that it's a bit much that they're on here. I've read reviews that say, oh, we don't care about Bosco. Why is he even on here? I don't know, it's Warner Brothers, and I guess it makes sense because he was the original, and he was Looney. Maybe if they redid him a little bit and then did more with him later on, but Porky and Daffy and the rest of them just kept getting bigger, and then, you know, Bosco just got rambled in the dust. So one thing that's really cool about this set is that it includes a very rare and controversial cartoon where Bugs Bunny impersonates Adolf Hitler. It also includes a cartoon where Daffy hits Hitler with a mallet. There were other wartime cartoons with famous cartoon characters during the 1940s. One of them was famously Donald Duck. A bunch of others as well. Also, Bugs Bunny was the only cartoon character that was officially drafted to the United States Army. The discs are pretty cool. And, you know, like, I hate war. I'm against it completely. There is something kind of neat visually about seeing famous cartoon characters beat up Nazis and things like that. I mean, these were propaganda cartoons, but hey, it was the 40s. What do you expect? Some of them they are funny and they are worth watching today. Oh, by the way, all you Looney fans out there, do you remember one of Bugs' most famous catchphrases? I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. He said that a bunch of times, right? He famously said it in the episode where he fights the bull. What's weird is that the first time he ever said that line was in the episode where he impersonates Adolf Hitler. He digs a hole and he winds up in Auschwitz, and then he actually says that. Aside from the wartime cartoons, though, the other discs, the cartoons aren't as good. So really, the World War II cartoons are a highlight of this collection.